Tennessee Titans 3-round mock draft on deck here today. Yes, I know it's early. The 2024 season hasn't even started yet, but looking at some of the teams at the bottom of the league in terms of expected Super Bowl odds, where they're projected to pick in the 2025 NFL draft, we're going to take a look ahead at how the Titans 2024 season could go and how they could end up approaching the 2025 NFL draft, depending on how things pan out in 2024. Just a fun look ahead for some of these fans of teams that don't really have the greatest expectations in 2024. So the Titans, again, are one of the teams looked at towards the bottom of the league this year. I think they could be plucky. I think they could be a difficult team for other teams to handle. I think fan expectations among Titans fans are certainly much greater than what the national kind of narrative is on the Titans heading into this season. They did spend a ton of money in free agency. They have first-year head coach Brian Callahan. His father comes over as the offensive line coach, which I know a lot of Titans fans are excited about, especially after drafting J.C. Latham in the first round. And then defensive coordinator Denard Wilson comes over from Baltimore, as so many of the Baltimore defensive assistants are now defensive coordinators around the league. The receiver room is old, but still very good with DeAndre Hopkins. You bring in Calvin Ridley, obviously Tyler Boyd as well. I think that there's complementary skill sets there. I think DeAndre Hopkins, his ability to play X will allow Calvin Ridley to get a lot more free releases, move around the formation a little bit more. I think the Jaguars had Calvin Ridley kind of playing out of position a bit last year, and obviously you can see the Jaguars here in the background. I do cover the Jaguars. I'm a Jaguars fan, but I can certainly acknowledge that Calvin Ridley was not in the best situation last year to make the best use of his skill set. I can also acknowledge Calvin Ridley needed to play better, and I think that there's a good chance that he will in year 2 coming back from suspension in a better situation from a schematic standpoint, I believe, and with a more complementary group of receivers around him. I think that's fair to say. I like what they have on the offensive line from center to left tackle. When you talk about bringing in the center from the Broncos, you have Peter Skoronski, you brought in J.C. Latham. The right side is what really worries me about the offensive line. The running back room, I think, will be electric with Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard. So for me, I think that there's a lot to work with on offense. I'm just a little bit worried about that right side of the offensive line. And then if you're talking about J.C. Latham coming into the starting lineup playing left tackle from day one, yes, you think Bill Callahan can get the most out of him, but it's very optimistic to say he's going to be playing at an average or above average level in pass protection and as a whole as a rookie. It's just difficult to do that as an offensive tackle. So you're definitely looking at 2 out of the 5 starting spots on the offensive line as a little bit of question for me, talking about that right side. If you include J.C. Latham, who is going to be a rookie starting in the NFL, as a question mark, now you're talking about 3 out of the 5 spots a little bit uneasy. And obviously you feel good about J.C. Latham's future. How quickly will he be playing at a above average level? I think that's really the question there. And then looking at the defensive side of the ball, the defensive front, Jeffrey Simmons is amazing. One-man wrecking crew. But it looks like he is a little bit of a one-man wrecking crew. Like, I know you brought in T'Vondre Sweat. I don't have a lot of confidence in that move yet. I have questions about that. I do like Harold Landry and Arden Key, but they're good, not great players. So it really is the Jeffrey Simmons show up front. And I know there's been some other additions, but I did not like losing Danico Autry to the Texans. I didn't like the signing of Kenneth Murray all that much. I think they lost another player to the Texans there, Azeez Al-Shaair, that's a better player than the one coming in. The secondary, I am pretty much all in on that. You know, L'Jarius Sneed, Chidobe Awuzie, 2 great additions in free agency. Roger McCreary, a very good young football player out of Auburn. Amani Hooker, a very good safety. I love Elijah Molden as well. The Jamal Adams move, I don't know about that one, but I think that they'll be able to figure out in the secondary with all the talent they have. I really do. And with Denard Wilson being the defensive coordinator there. The question for me is, did they give Will Levis enough to figure out if he's the guy or not? Like, they definitely gave him enough weapons on the offensive side of the ball, in my opinion. I forgot to mention Chigo Okonkwo as well, another good football player at tight end, very good athlete. Offensive line, again, I'm a little worried about that right side, and I think it's optimistic to say J.C. Latham is going to be average to above average as a rookie, at least early on. Defensively, I love the secondary. I love Jeffrey Simmons. I think they have a couple nice edge players, but I'm not convinced this is going to be like a really good defense here in year one. There's still question marks at linebacker and a couple other spots. So I could see them picking in the top 5 as NFL Mock Draft Database has them projected here. I could see that. I could also see them being a little more competitive than that. I could see them being a team that is in games that are competitive almost every week but has a hard time sealing the deal at the end. That would not surprise me with some of the youth they have at some key positions. But I do expect Will Levis to show enough that they aren't ready to move in a different direction after the 2024 season. I do expect that. I think that Will Levis will still be their starting quarterback following this season. Now, I mentioned they're sitting there at 5, and we're going to do a 3-round mock draft. They're sitting there at 5 in the NFL Mock Draft Database draft order. So I would love to trade down, but is that number 5 overall pick going to be one that there's a lot of suitors for? It could be. There's a lot yet to be determined with this NFL draft, with the prospects available. I think that if you're going to go get a quarterback, it's probably going to be before 5. I think if you're moving up, it's going to be for Carson Beck. He might be the first overall pick. We'll see how it plays out. But I would like to trade down if I'm the Titans here, especially with only 2 picks on the first 2 days of the draft because of the Will Levis trade. You gave up the 2025 third as part of that deal to go up and get Will Levis. I just don't feel that confident there's going to be a suitor for the 5th pick at this point. So we're going to stick and pick at 5. Could go offensive line, could go edge, could go wide receiver. DeAndre Hopkins is on an expiring contract. You need to continue to have someone that can play X so you don't have to put Calvin Ridley in that role. And you can keep him off the line of scrimmage, keep getting him free releases, keep him away from press coverage. I think Brian Callahan, we know, has seen the value of wide receivers. I think that Rand Carthen probably feels the same way. There's some guys here at the top that maybe not projecting as true X receivers. Luther Burden, Travis Hunter. I think Tetairoa McMillan, though, who I currently have at 10th on my board, can be that true X and could make a lot of sense. Keep Ridley off the line of scrimmage, keep him away from press coverage. I like it if they move on from DeAndre Hopkins, and they might not even move on from Diop. They could re-sign him to another 1-2 year deal, but I do think DeAndre Hopkins will play well again in 2024, and I think I could see another team being willing to offer him more than the Titans are, even at his age. So we'll see how that plays out, but Tennessee, I have them saying we need a homegrown young player in our wide receiver room that can really grow with Will Levis, and I think McMillan, again, 10th on my board, great size and length, good route runner at his size, amazing hands, catch radius, ball tracking, ability to go up and get the football. I think it's a great fit there for the Tennessee Titans getting a Tetairoa McMillan, which might not be the most popular pick at this point for them. I know, obviously, I mentioned you could go with offensive line or edge. I think wide receiver, when you have a young quarterback, is every bit as important as those positions. But we also do need to continue to protect the quarterback, and I want to address the right side of that offensive line. I think doing that with the 2nd pick for the Tennessee Titans makes a lot of sense at 37 overall. Tyler Booker is right in the Bill Callahan wheelhouse, in my opinion. Insanely physically gifted guard, former 5-star recruit. He is massive. He is strong. He moves really, really well at his size. You're building a wall in Tennessee here, and so he's going to play right guard probably for you. He's done a little bit of right guard during his college career, mostly played left guard, but you plug him in at right guard, and now you're talking about a very athletic offensive line, a mauling type of offensive line that I think has the potential for whoever's playing quarterback to be really stout up front and then also be able to create a lot of space in the run game. No 3rd rounder, again, as I mentioned, for the Titans. So that's it for this 3-round mock draft. Only 2 picks at 5 and 37. But you get a building block wide receiver and a building block offensive lineman to help this offense continue to grow, to get younger on the offensive side of the ball in the supporting cast for Will Levis. If you're a Titans fan, would love to know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. NFL draft fans, if you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Y'all have a good one.